going like,
All right, I forgot to hit the
Okay.
record and I wanted to.
So-
record this.
and talking to him, I told him that we'd like to sit down and talk to him. Now, it looks like you're way ahead of us being able to do that because you're not around. So there's a different person, different cop. At times, taking that place until he comes back.
Oh,
You're talking running the resident trooper program or running Brooklyn specifically? What
Running
do
the
you-
resident trooper.
okay.
Sure, man.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you were talking about the Brooklyn, particularly the Brooklyn resident trooper was out at training.
Yeah, he is.
Okay,
No,
so,
out injured, I think, right?
Yeah, injured,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
okay, I didn't know if you were talking to somebody up here that takes care of a bunch of resident troopers,
No.
or you, okay, all right,
No.
I don't think they actually.
The lieutenant for this area,
gotcha,
lieutenant for this area has control of that.
okay.
No, not nobody somewhere else.
Yeah.
So when a resident trooper's out, you don't get a replacement?
Yes, they do have one right now. They're having a
Oh,
replacement
they
for
gave
him
him
until he
one?
comes
Okay.
back.
Right,
Okay,
She said that was the only downside. They do have to go for, you must know better than I, they have to go for periodic training.
Oh, they do that. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, it's, I didn't ask him. I didn't want to know about why he's out.
right.
It could be something else, but,
I don't know, that's all
so
she said.
anyway.
What can we sell best?
Could I just?
Yeah.
well, I just wanted to find out, there was a third option on the table, right?
The third question was reaching out to Woodstock Academy, which I did. I spoke to Craig Rich. He's the head of the security team there. So my biggest question was, well, what kind of training? What about the firearms? What about the ammunition, et cetera? So what he filled me in on is that training is 1 day per year at the police academy. It's $75 per person. So the training itself is pretty nominal. They have to be qualified with a firearm 1 time per year. There is the cost of ammunition, which he didn't completely have the specifics on, but uniforms, shirts, cold weather, fleece, et cetera, probably a lot of the same stuff that we're providing to our safety team already. The individuals receive a stipend to help cover the cost of their firearm. They choose and they store and they keep their firearm on their own. So nothing is stored at the school, is what he explained to me. So then they provide duty ammo, of course. What he did say was a downfall is that the pool of applicants is surprisingly slim. Considering the number of police officers that are retiring, but they retire, but they can get a much better paying job in the private sector.
Mhm.
So they've had 1 position open for over a year.
But they don't have to be, right? They don't have to be a retired.
He told me
police-
they, according to Connecticut statute 10-222, which is like 173 pages long, and it's all revolves around Sandy Hook. School security, armed guards have to be retired state police officers. They are working,
really?
yes, according to Mr. Rich.
That's what I explained to you guys that, but
Mhm.
you wanted it to fit your narrative. It's not, nothing, no disrespect.
No,
but-
no, that's incorrect.
No,
Correct.
I said you have to be a
No, no,
a
let me
retired
stop you
police
there.
officer.
I'm-
Let me finish.
No, because it's calling out the narrative and let's just take that off the table. That's not fair. I don't have a narrative here other than for the security and my interest in having this conversation. Please don't take that position with me. I'm asking you not to because it's not accurate.
So Mr. Rich explained that it does have to be, and that's why the pool of applicants are slim. They are working with legislators to try to lift that so that it can be more broad. But currently, the way it stands, it does have to be someone who was either retired that is qualified based on that criteria and those credentials
So under that
Connecticut
condition-
state or?
within
Ro-
Connecticut.
Cannot be like Rhode Island or
No,
Mass,
yeah,
or
it could
can it
be-
be, can it be
it could be
local
any-
town police? Can
Yeah,
it
any
be?
local town
Right,
police,
oh,
city
right.
police,
Just have that.
municipality,
Right,
DEP.
law enforcement, like.
DEP.
I was just
the
about-
ability
Law
to
enforcement.
arrest, it just has all those.
Anyone who had
credentials.
powers of arrest under that statute.
Whereas like
only
a
applies-
corrections officer or someone that was
There's
in
law
private
enforcement, but it's
security
not
wouldn't
in
be
that
able to
realm
arrest,
still.
right?
Correct.
So the hybrid option that we discussed is not an option, is what we're saying. We talked about a hybrid option
We-
where Greg and his team potentially too, it's not an option.
And we have to pull in actual law enforcement,
Retired,
Okay.
retired.
correct.
So that was the one thing that he said was a drawback. I did speak to Mike Susi, he's the head of finance at Woodstock Academy, to try to get a range. $375,000 to $400,000 is what their security team costs.
That's how many people?
Isn't it five?
I
What's
believe
the
it
armed
was
and the.
three armed. They're
That's the
trying to
bigger
get a
chunk of it.
fourth, right? And I believe there was 5 safety.
That's just the academy?
Just, well, they have been shifting over because they also have a second offsite.
Yeah, but it's still the academy.
It's
Yeah.
still
High
just
school,
the-
but
just
it's-
the
How
high
many,
schools,
right, they have a,
because they
how
have
many
offsite.
students?
Oh,
Ooh,
gosh, how many
1,500?
students are
Yeah,
there?
have
somewhere
that
around there,
many. Okay,
anywhere between
okay.
1350 and 1500.
So is our site, we might be smaller scale, but still.
A little bit smaller, about 1,000 roughly, right? Give or take any good or bad year. We didn't lose lots of students to Ellis or Killingley, Boag. We probably would be 1,100-1,200, somewhere around there, but regardless of the number, which the main goal here, I think, for everybody. And I went back from the last meeting, I kept tossing it around in my head, and I'm gonna go back to the same thing. Putnam never had anything. We have something. How do we streamline it to get a better option in play, right? And the only way that's gonna come in is how we sell it to the people. And I'm not from the town, but I'm trying to help everyone here sell it properly to benefit the townspeople that are gonna foot the bill for this. Because we don't have resources to draw from to offset
don't
some of
have
these
those
costs, right? And I understand what people want, but I didn't want a tree to fall in my garage and carpet it, okay, but it happens. We just can't always get the best thing, but what's gonna benefit the town, where the town payers have to pay a little bit more in their taxes, but the townspeople also get something in return.
That's why last time I pushed the resident trooper,
I still think it's the best option.
because he can be anywhere.
Right, I believe that in my heart. But like, Mr. Warner said, and I'm gonna go back to this because I sat on it, I didn't really respond to it. Sounds like you don't want it. It has nothing to do with what I want. I just don't have those tools in my toolbox right now. I have to try to defend the school without having those resources to the best of our ability. And my goal is to have everybody primarily focus most of their time outside the building. To, if we do encounter a threat, to reduce the response time, so we can mitigate any death. Even if we had 2 or 3 people there, just because you have a weapon in hand doesn't mean you're exempt from dying. You need training. And trust me, it's my background on the tactical end. There goes a lot of training, and it's not one day a year. We had to qualify two times a year, and then 2 more times a year with the less lethal weapons platforms that we had, and I had about 7 different weapon platforms. And it's not
Vacation at a herbal home for grandma's birthday.
cool. But what I'm getting at is 1 day of training or even 5 days of training a year is not enough. Believe it or not, I did not train my individuals in shooting. I trained them in tactics, which saves lives and saves their lives. It wasn't about trigger time. Trigger time you can do all day long and shoot at a paper target, and it's easy, okay?
The target's a lot different than a human being.
It is, but when you put simunitions, what I got is converter kits for my weapons platforms, which allowed us to actually shoot at each other. Our concealment drills, those are important. They're life-saving important drills. And if you don't understand those dynamics, it's not as easy as just saying, I want to hire somebody. When you have rounds coming at you at a high velocity, even though there's simunitions, but they're just like a bullet coming out of a casing, just like which holds a bullet. They don't have as much velocity, but they got a pretty good range, and they sting and they hurt. And it is an adrenaline rush. Because once you're hit, you're out of the game. And it's very dynamic. and very fast paced. And when you have a lot of velocity coming down at you, it's very hard to even maneuver. And I'm gonna be honest. Most guys, you get taken out real quick.
Well, I'm just gonna interject here, and I'm gonna say that I appreciate and thank you to every person that has come tonight and has been coming to these meetings, obviously, and thank you, Amy, for bringing them together. I guess I'd like to understand that the security program, how long has that been in place? The security.
The safety.
Since before the pandemic, I want to say 4 years.
4 years. When the safety, I just want to make sure, I put it out there, I'm not the decision maker, obviously. But when this program was put into place, was it put before the Board of Finance that we would have retired police and retired state
No.
police?
No,
Actually, I think that was a discussion
That's
at a
what
Board
I-
of Finance.
that's what I heard.
When,
Open to them.
the discussion when we started this was, we wanted something. Okay, we brought in Woodstock Academy's headmaster, I
we
think,
brought in Chris.
and yeah. And we asked them their model, how they started it. And then we said, okay, well, let's start with this. This is what we can afford this year. And actually, it was brought on by a security report that was more concerned with after hours at the school.
Mhm.
The reason I'm asking
No.
is because I.
And that's
I
why
wanna
the tone was-
understand
What?
when we go back out and we ask them, I want to know what was asked for
So,
the first time so that we can.
The first time
understand.
it was just, we just need to start something. The biggest concern from that safety report, security report was, look, there's all kinds of after school events and nobody watching the door.
Right.
Okay, so the school's wide open, not necessarily because even then, far less than now, but even then, the campus is very secure during the day. Okay, getting in is not an easy thing to do.
You got an ag commission, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
No, it's okay, I just, we're scheduled for 70, is
Yeah.
that gonna be a problem? Okay.
We'll make it work.
And so we just wanted to start with something. So that was, I think, just two or three people.
So we had
For-
Ben during the
Right.
day alone.
Yeah,
And then we had some part-timers at night and they basically covered all the evening
yeah.
events.
And the
games.
discussion about moving forward, whether or not we would ever grow armed, whatnot, was, we don't know. We need to see what we can start with, what we can get, how we're gonna fund it. Again, I'm always harping on look, the difference between the municipal budget and the school budget, as far as passing it, just look at history, okay? We don't have to sit here and debate it. We're just gonna look at the history. If it's on the municipal side, it's gonna get passed easier. And so that's what we were looking at, is what can we fund from the municipal side? And, 350, what are we saying? 375, 400. Want to try throwing that on a budget this year? Of course not.
I don't want to get, again, we're.
But that's where we were, was we don't know where we're going with it.
But-
We didn't
But
know.
with this, we're beyond the Board of Finance. If we go directly to the people, the Board of Ed says, okay, we're okay with posing potential beefing up our security program. What is the security program now? I know the town puts in 60.
And then the Board of Ed puts in 50 and change for the coordinator.
So
and
we're
another
about
30. So
100.
it's about 85 on the board side
Okay.
and your 60.
So we're about 140. Now we're bumping it up by 335. No, wait, I can't even act tonight. 235,
235 and what?
235,000
For what?
Bumping up to the
To-
350.
to potentially,
375,
to get up to that 375 to 400,000.
My worry
So-
is, that I put on the table the last time I was here, and I'm really adamant about this, is we're hitting the funding cliff this
Right.
year with
Yeah.
our mental health providers, social worker up at the high school.
Yeah,
Those kind of providers, and as you clearly stated, and it was good research, that very often the threat comes from within, right?
right.
And so, making sure and those are going in the Board of Ed's budget, whether or not the Board of Ed pushes it forward to the Board of Finance will be seen, but. The bottom line here is that I can't lose those positions, so how can we ask for everything at once? It just seems.
And that's going back to Melinda's fears that, okay, let's say we add a security program. But then-
I just do not think
Yeah.
it's something that can be in the Board of Ed budget.
Right, I
It
know,
can't be.
I
And that gets back to, how do you do that? And
Then it stays on the town side. We
You
just
know,
keep up the,
you
it
can also
becomes a
look at-
secure.
Can I ask a question?
But they're gonna get the suspicion before anybody else does.
absolutely,
So, I mean,
but I
we're
don't
getting
know,
covered.
but I don't know
somewhat.
if, like, I
What-
know,
Can I ask a question? What is the cost to Brooklyn for their resident trooper?
That I didn't ask.
Well,
That's,
we got-
that's what I was
Well, we
wondering, is
looked at
what is
but
the
we
cost?
got that last week,
It's
I mean,
one
last month.
from Lieutenant Haglund. I had to think of his name. Lieutenant Haglund, 130 to 210,000.
Right.
And it's a
All
big,
that
that's
stuff.
it's a big, it's a big window, Kathleen. The reason why the window's so big, according to him, is it all depends on what, essentially, what step the trooper
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that gets the job is at.
Okay, I
It's strictly-
understand that. Because I like that solution the best. If we're paying around our 150 now for our safety team, split between the town and the school, and leave it, and keep in mind, we have to give everybody raises here. And bring in, split the difference, say a middle of the roads, the middle
Right.
ground, a resident trooper who stays at the town hall and is on the town budget, that sort of solves our problem.
I like the idea. What I like most, Kathleen, about the resident trooper is I loved hearing from Superintendent Buell that they had a great working relationship, that it was the same face that knew what was going on in the school system and just gets to know the safety team. And then they work together and they collaborate, and what a great resource for Greg.
Right, and you've got an armed person very close to the school because the town hall is right down the hill.
And we can maybe make their hours, maybe their hours aren't exactly school hours, maybe their hours go into the evening.
Hmm,
Because we do have that flexibility to make their hours.
That's what.
right. I think that's our perfect solution right there, without having the armed personnel at the school.
I
'Cause
think,
don't think you're gonna get 100%
step.
buy-in from the Board of Ed for armed people at the school.
Well, I think just next step to potentially evolve as the town grows.
Yeah, it may be, that may happen at some point.
Can we get my ash landfill
Yeah,
Right.
what I planned.
at the old Tilcon
we were thinking we were
property?
gonna put it the old Teutons auto body.
Oh, I was thinking, oh, you think two times?
Hey, the guy's selling a house. He told me today, he's selling his house. So you can go right back there. That would be all right with me,
Maybe
you know,
So we heard
So-
from the superintendent, it would be nice to hear directly from the trooper. We didn't, to have his take on.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
lieutenant,
but he's out.
But
Oh,
he's
the
out,
troop-
but
the
there's
resident-
other resident troopers, I'm
Right.
sure.
well, we had Hagman here for two.
You
did,
over
okay,
2
so-
hours.
But
So I
Over 2
apologize.
hours.
And he's a resident trooper?
No.
Yeah.
no,
He's
he's
a
a lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
in
The
charge.
commander.
I spoke to him today,
Who did,
and I
lieutenant?
did, the lieutenant, yeah.
Okay.
He's
Mhm.
been on and off all 2 weeks, so anyway, I finally got a hold of him.
Yeah.
So I told him that we're, what we'd like to do is to meet with, the trooper.
Yeah.
He won't be back until the end of December.
Okay.
Because I'd like to go over, he does have a small place in the school. And he does pop up every now and then. It's just, his regular one is in the town hall.
So here's a little satellite.
And it sounds pretty good, but I want to get an idea of how he's working.
They don't have
So,
security up there at all, bro.
No.
So
No.
We do, we do,
enhance Greg's program.
Right.
Right.
right. Which is a great program, and Greg knows the students and his people know the students.
I think that's the biggest thing, staying on the inside and getting to know and have a relationship with the students.
Right, and Greg and we have 2 full-time people during the day. Why don't we have a female and Greg, right?
3, actually,
3 during the day
1 at night.
and 1 at night. So, I mean,
I think it's important for people to also understand how secure the campus is now. Everybody gets, well, not everybody, but a lot of people get hung up on, armed versus unarmed. Whether, and I know, I mean, whether it's some employees at the school or whether it's people in the public, well, what are they gonna do? They don't even have guns. Well, I've noticed a difference.
But they have eyes.
Exactly, and you know, you drive up there and you immediately see red shirts walking around. Again, I've noticed the different feel of the campus since this program's been in place. And I'm sure that family members, if you asked the family members who have been going up to that school for, let's say, the past 8 years, I'm sure they'll say the same thing. They've noticed a presence, and that matters. You know, and I know you've changed the points of entries this year. There's not as many accessible, to the chagrin of some of the staff. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not just guns that secure any particular property,
No, but
you know? No, I get that,
It does.
but again,
But you're gonna have that
We-
one coming in.
it's the next step.
Does the Board of Ed need to approve that too?
Well,
That's
Mm,
just
no.
the resident state.
no, resident state
trooper.
trooper would have
No,
That's
nothing.
not the resident state trooper. No, we would
That's just-
not.
But there is a benefit to the town. So
Yeah.
we're just talking the Board of Ed,
That's the-
but the benefit to the town is
Immense.
we've had issues in Riverside Park, we've had issues at Quad Gate, and that gives us a presence, a police presence in the
There's
town.
not much they can do with Quantico.
No,
It's bigger.
But yes, there is. They can.
But they
if
are
it's an
state,
issue,
yes.
a concern,
So-
they could have gone out and checked, you know, done some different things. There's just been a
That was
presence
much
there.
The lieutenant's dismay.
And the accessibility of our youth to those drugs in their homes, just that alone, having this presence right now, everybody
Because it
knows.
takes the
there's
pressure
no
off.
check.
That's-
I think the benefit also to the town, and I think a lot of people don't understand this. Is that when you have a resident trooper in town, and my dad will attest to it, and also you, sir, that. He's your primary guy in town. He starts understanding. The flow, the dynamics, the main little kids or the
The players.
players that are gonna be involved, the little cliques, the potential gang activity that's in this town, because there is.
Yep.
You can, nobody sees it, but I see it. And. But when he's off. And something happens in this town. The first person they're gonna call is him, and he's gonna have information. Hey, I know that guy lives. Oh, you're looking for that car? You know exactly where he hangs out. I'm gonna go right to that house. I'm gonna go scoop him up. And he's saved an investigator or 2 or 3 troopers on the road, 3 or 4 hours off the road, trying to figure out where this guy is when the resident trooper who's in this town, he's a valuable asset like he was before.
You're gonna have a lot of protection up there. With the trooper working with you and your guys. With the mental health professionals working with you, the trooper. Cause that's where it starts. They're gonna see something.
And they
that
do, because
We're
what
not
I,
gonna pick up.
because what I've seen this year just alone, and I didn't have much of a play in it last year, but I saw it from the outside, was Melinda, the safety threat assessment team that she has put together, which was there before, but has taken more of a proactive role instead of reactive this year. Things are getting identified. People are talking a little bit more. They're feeling a little bit more part of it. And it's allowing her and our team to identify certain situations. And then not only that, build a case file on these individuals. So now we have resource to go back to later on, maybe not this year, but next year. And now we have something to go back to instead of starting fresh and say, I don't remember that on this kid. Well, no, hold on a second. We have a file on him now. So that's huge on what Melinda is adding to the school system this year and her approach on it. I mean, we sat through those classes, the FBI and the DOJ, and listened to them. And it's the same old thing every year. You go to them every year, but it all depends on how it's spoken. And this year I got a lot, the mental health aspect of it really intrigues me the most, because that's where you really can truly start identifying potentials, right? And that was very key for me, and I'm sure it was for Melinda also. But like I said before, Brooklyn, what does Brooklyn have that we don't have? A lot more money, right?
Fewer residents.
Yes, but they have money.
And they have.
They have
They have more of a
business,
tax base,
right?
yeah.
What does
Huge
Woodstock have?
jobs, yeah.
They have a different set than we do, right? Different style on how they operate their school system over there. What does Putnam have that we don't have? A police department, right? Where they can attach a real resource officer, which is actually a school resource officer, is a police officer, right? It's not just somebody that's retired or in training.
I think the reason I push the mental health so much, I
Mhm.
worked for 30 years,
Mhm.
and I've seen things. Long time before they were gonna happen, warn people. Does it just, you get a sense? Just by walking by somebody sometimes? And saying, there's something bothering this kid, there's something bothering this person, you gotta get to the bottom of it. I think that's the big part of the whole security thing up there too.
Well, that's good enough too, why you want a cop here,
Yeah,
because
Oh,
he
definitely.
knows right away.
yeah,
I'll tell you something, I went through with my wife, right? My house was broken into. Right away, we found out where it came from, who it was, and we arrested him.
Yeah.
Right, my wife was constantly with a guy with a knife while she was
yeah, I
running,
remember that.
okay? And got away from him, ran up the middle of the road before somebody stopped and grabbed her. Right away, it solved another one where he took a woman into the cemetery here. That just had a baby, and she pleaded with him to let her go. And we found that out, okay? So it's, the guy that's here. Gonna know more than somebody that here
Right.
today, tomorrow is in another place, et cetera, et cetera.
And why to have.
People gonna have to put that in their damn mind, you know?
I know a lot of times it's about money. But one life, you can't pay.
Huh?
That's why we need trooper.
That's right.
So since they need the room at 7 o'clock, do we want to? I mean, at this point, we can't really move anything forward if we think that we want to talk to the trooper when he gets back.
I believe we will. I mean,
So do we
I'm
wanna
gonna do
just-
it, whether
No,
anybody
no,
else
I
does.
agree with you. I'm just saying, one of the thoughts you had was that we kind of come together with some thoughts on a question, but can we, I mean, at this point,
Well, we
Can we just
talk
wait?
To the truth,
try to get him
Yeah.
here at the beginning of January sometime that we can all meet?
right?
Can I just,
Yeah.
a tri-board meeting would be beneficial, I think, to get everybody on board,
And
because
that's what they did, and it was
Yeah.
before the town meeting.
Right.
Before
that's what they,
doing
oh, that's what
something.
Brooklyn, yeah, Putnam did, I'm sorry.
And we do.
Before the meeting, but even like if you're gonna bring a resident trooper in to talk, would be
Oh,
beneficial
we keep-
for.
All three.
You want to do that as
To
a
invite-
tri-board meeting, or do you want to do a meeting with him and then somebody talks to the tri-board?
I would like to go to his place. Where he is and talk to him,
And well, we know
and then to
now.
see what it
But
is.
but I think the rest of us want to talk to him too.
That's the thing.
Afterwards, they want
You
to.
don't think everybody,
No,
Right, we're talking about bringing him in.
I'm saying to
here and
take
talking to him.
a few people, meeting with him on how he operates. Where is his place in the school? How far is it?
Well,
There's a
what,
lot of things.
what we've established, Larry, though, is that he's not at the school. He has a satellite office there if he needs it, but he does all of his work out of the town hall, from what.
Yeah, he does, but it does
Superintendent
go
Hill
there
said.
because
Yeah.
the lieutenant
He's there,
even said
like,
that.
let's say he has to interview.
It's gonna have to show
yeah,
up.
he's
on
have
something.
to have a
He
space
has
in
a
the school.
place to go,
Yeah.
right,
He has a place to go and it's. You know,
Yep.
they're looking and say, oh, he does come here.
right, exactly.
Doesn't mean he stays there all day.
But I know that there was the concern that the public wouldn't have access to a resident trooper if they were completely at the school.
If his office
because
was
the
at the school,
No,
rather-
well, that's right.
And
That's
that's
why
what we don't want.
I'm not for a resident trooper staying at that
Right.
school.
So,
And I think most of us wouldn't be, because if we're going to go the resident trooper route, the
Mm.
reason we go that route is because it benefits
Helps the whole town.
everybody.
Right.
It benefits the entire community.
Mhm.
so
And benefits. the
since we
school.
have all three boards here, representatives, would you all think that your board would all want to sit down in a tri-board meeting and listen to the resident trooper?
I don't know if the resident
Okay.
trooper would
No.
want to be in that.
I don't think he's gonna wanna do that.
No, I
myself, and I wouldn't do it.
Why not?
Because you, huh?
Why not?
You got your own place over here and this is what you're gonna do. You're not gonna go over here. It's a little different. Every town's a little different.
Sure it is,
Jesus,
but
I know.
but if we're trying to
But the board.
Well,
get the boards to come on board with this,
Yeah.
who's gonna better explain what we're trying to do than
But what I
somebody that's
think
doing it?
Strongly, Sean, is that this is a town decision. This goes far above the boards. I know we're all elected officials,
All right, so.
but it's about the people deciding what they think is.
But you gotta have the foundation to support it. That's why I suggested a tri-board, is to get everybody
Yes.
talking and on board with it,
But-
because
But bringing in the resident trooper, as we all saw, and I don't know if you guys paid much attention to it, Lieutenant Haglund sat in that for almost 3 hours, and he
Right.
said very minimal.
Right,
He just listened. So by having a trooper, because,
they're not presenters.
yeah, they're not, they're here to do a job, and they're gonna do whatever job we want them to do or pay them to do. And they're gonna do their job to the fullest. So putting him in there and having a bunch of people ask a bunch of hypothetical questions that he might not have the answer to, it might fit the narrative for the town of Brooklyn, but it might not, those same questions might not fit the narrative for this town. And it is a little bit, the two towns are definitely different.
Sure.
The trooper is gonna meet the need that we have.
Yeah,
While it is the people, it's still need a core group of people out there explaining why
I
the
think when it
people
comes
think it's a good
to,
idea.
if the people decide they want armed security or they want a resident trooper, then it's a matter of the tri-board possibly there, a couple members from the boards helping to decide on which trooper, because that's going to be an interview process.
Well, yeah.
If I
Oh, is that
understand.
how that works?
yeah, but he also stated
Yeah.
too, the primary responsibility of the hiring will be done by the Connecticut State Police, not so much us.
But based on our needs.
Yes, based
Well,
on our needs, but they're
we'll
gonna pick the
identify the
best
needs.
candidate. Like you said, it might not be the guy at the
Well,
top
if
step.
they wanna do
Who's
it,
up for it? Whoever wants to.
if they wanna do it, and the lieutenant's gonna pick someone that's going to be, that he knows is gonna do the job. He's
Yeah.
not gonna just pick anybody.
So you might get a guy at the top
So
step,
you don't know-
200, or you might get a guy that's really good and young and ambitious at 145, 150. I think you can end up paying about 185. I think you're gonna get a mid-range guy.
The trooper in Brooklyn is fairly young, because we had
Yes.
him, right? He's fairly young.
But,
Maybe-
are we considering two questions, this resident trooper and armed security?
So the questions, Greg,
with the
after I,
different Prices?
right,
Because-
well, after I sent out the Putnam notice, and I said, well, we're gonna have to come up with some questions. Greg had formulated a few questions. The first one, I'm not thinking is really viable, but I'll read it anyways. Question one would be to determine the wishes of those present and eligible to vote at town meetings in the town of Thompson. The following question, shall the town of Thompson appropriate 130 to 210 to cover the cost of a Connecticut Police Resident Trooper Program and assigning one resident trooper to the Thompson Public Schools exclusively? Was the initial thought,
Yeah.
but I just don't think that's.
I think we can just get rid of the last sentence.
Right,
Yeah.
so that, and that was
Well,
the second
but then I
question,
created
with
enough.
shared duties with the town and the school.
Well,
Or just
but that's a
say-
given.
It's-
So
but
just
that's
get
a
rid of that
given, yeah.
sentence.
Just get rid of that
Right.
altogether. So then that would
But
be
it's
the
not-
first question,
yeah.
between 130 and
Yeah.
210. And then to determine the wishes of those present to vote at meetings of the town of Thompson, the following question, shall the town of Thompson appropriate? And then we put an X number.
Like the
It would probably be
375?
an additional 300,000.
Because.
Because we already have a program in place, so let's say an additional
right.
300,000. To cover the cost of 3 trained and armed former sworn police officers attached to the existing safety team. Personnel at Thompson Public Schools, and
And
I
that-
think those 2 questions are what should be posed.
And may I just want to complete that thought. So the second option requires the Board of Ed's approval. The first one does
First
not, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's probably a deciding factor. for
We
the
need to make
voters,
sure
right?
that
We
they're
need to
gonna
make sure that
approve
we
that.
say that. And secondly, the appetite, I keep saying, for this, I see very mixed. So I know amongst this group, it's the resident state trooper all the way, and maybe that's the whole town. I don't know the answer to that. But in the sampling that I've done, it's not. It's that, no, because my interest is the school only for the purpose of that. For that purpose of having armed security at the school. So I think we might find a pretty mixed bag here. So I'm just putting it
No,
out there.
absolutely.
And I think that those
The-
questions are
Because-
absolutely valid, and that's where we need to go.
What I
But
get,
we just have to be very
So you're
clear that
saying
we
that-
need the Board of Ed.
right,
That what,
first and foremost,
from what
Um,
you've heard,
second
people would
option.
rather spend $400,000 on just the school than
No.
140,000 on.
Not putting out the money, but the money's out there. It matters.
Okay,
No, Chris,
Well,
I'm
well-
sorry, Sean.
well,
Right.
right,
But I'm just saying, overall, you know how the taxpayers are, right?
right,
You know
which
what's
stuns me to hear that they would be more interested
That's right,
in
so put
funding
it out
something
there.
for the school
Put it out there. and
before the
like-
town.
But to Kathleen, I'm sorry, to Suzanne's point is that we need to make sure that we have all the supporting information so they know what they're voting on. bottom
Right.
line.
Now, back to the question we talked about last meeting, though. That second question. I'm still of the belief that the funding has to be in the town's
Yeah.
budget. Okay, but did we ever figure out if it can be? Because that's back to. How does that work?
What do you mean?
Same way that it is now. Yeah,
So the town municipal budget. Pays for the security team that is run by the school.
Well, no, it's run by the police.
police department,
Yeah.
special services, it probably comes out of special services.
Right.
I think,
Okay.
in fact, I think it said that.
It-
So,
does,
so like
but
we said, that's
part of
back to
that
putting a
was what
security
they said
team
was-
up at the school that technically you're not in charge of.
Right,
And I think the comments I made, share it with share the relationship with the school.
but we don't
Well,
need,
that's given, though.
I don't think you need to put that in there because to give it.
It's a gift,
So
right?
we can work the language out later,
Yeah.
but I just, I wanted to get ahead of it and throw some questions out there, so we had something for the next meeting. Anyone else come up with anything?
With the two questions that you just read, that's an either or, choose one,
well,
because that
according
could
to
be
the way
kind of
the
confusing.
way Putnam did it, it was,
If
if
the
this
first
one
one-
fails, then here's your second question.
So that must have
So
been,
then it's a matter
that
of,
must have been the Board of Selectmen had their
well,
preference.
because there's no, but their second question was unarmed safety.
Well, my point is, you would put your preference
Oh, right.
first.
Yeah, so the Board of Selectmen would have to decide what the preference.
So what
Yeah.
they did was back the people into a corner to make a decision on the unarmed, but it was happening anyway.
No, because they could have voted no on the second question.
Yeah.
Said no.
Yeah, it wasn't the second one's automatic.
Right.
It was,
They
we're not
could've
gonna
said no
vote on the
vote.
second one if the first one passes. But if the first one fails, we're gonna vote on the second one.
And
That
then if
could
the
fail
second
too.
one fails, then
It's just
we
nothing.
get nothing.
I do think that second question needs to be clarified, that amount for adding in 3 armed security guards at the school to be fully transparent is that it's in addition to what is already
Already.
provided in the Board of
Right.
Education and
Right,
municipal budget.
Right.
total
But-
of 400.
But in revamping it, and this is maybe where the tri-board meeting comes into play, in revamping it, it would become completely a sole town of Thompson.
Single line just under the town of
Town of-
Thompson, rather than having it split between the. two
Not in the,
budgets now.
not in the school whatsoever. It would be overseen.
Right.
on the
But again,
town.
we're looking at,
What's the
we're
thought?
looking at Putnam, where they had $285,000 of free money, right? So the town was proposed a Lexus or a Fiat. And either one is free,
It's for them, it's free.
so they
right?
took the Lexus, which is what most people would do, right?
Especially if there was a tree on
But
that
they still
floor.
needed the Board of Ed, so the second question, if the first question fails, the second question has to somehow include the ability or the understanding that the approval would, we lose both if the town voted yes on question 2, and the Board of Ed voted no, then both ended up.
Well, they would have
From
that,
the Board
no,
of
we'd
Ed.
have that first.
So we would have the tri-meeting,
Yeah.
tri-board meeting before.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Board of Ed just needs to.
Yeah, it
make
doesn't have
their
to be a
decision
tri-board
as far as
Amy,
what they
you
want.
gotta have the Board of Finance on board.
Oh, I know, but.
I would feel a lot more comfortable.
Well,
if all
all I'm
three
saying is that
boards
the
were-
Board of Ed has to decide whether they're going to approve armed security.
If it's the second,
Period.
it's the second question.
Well, they
that's
could
Right.
tackle it out at that particular meeting, I'm assuming.
That just has to be decided before it goes to town meeting,
Right,
otherwise it's a
but
waste
we
of
can
time.
have a decision for that. So like, at any point in time, I would assume, Board of Ed, we could put it on the agenda that we could have a vote on whether or not we would approve, should it ever come to pass, to have armed security, we could have that vote. So then when it goes to, let's say, a tri-board
Then we
meeting,
do the tri.
then you can have that discussion
Yeah,
if the
it
Board of
says-
Finances on.
They want to do it.
It's on,
Board of Finance
is
has to.
approved, would approve something like that in the budget line. And then you would do the town vote.
But because this is
Common
such a
courtcy, if
sensitive
you're gonna
topic,
have a
like
create a
I
new
said, I'll
position.
just say it again, this goes above,
The
this is a town-wide decision. It goes above and
If this went
beyond.
to a town vote,
A
a town
board.
meeting. Is the Board of Finance obligated?
To fund.
If,
I mean, I can't imagine the Board of Finance would be like, okay, the townspeople said they want to do it and we're not gonna do it. But are they obligated to do it?
They're not, the Board of Selectmen can create a position, the Board of Finance
What's that?
has the authority to finance it.
Well, I
missed-
believe they are because it's a town.
I think so too.
went Through and said,
We
let's
want
go,
this.
we
I
want.
think at the very
put it
least,
out.
I think you would.
So
If
we're
there's
gonna-
no law that says you have to, I think you would. So.
But I think it
But
would be
then,
common courtesy
just
to
to
have
find
them
out.
involved before it goes out to town meeting.
Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
All right.
So,
Well, it was a little puzzling there about getting a trooper
That's tonight?
for the town or one for the school.
yeah, and I think,
They're not gonna do that.
no, I think that what we've decided is just potentially
gonna
the
be a
resident
for the
trooper,
school.
security
It's
person.
gotta be for the whole town. And that's
Especially at that
jobs
cost.
at School.
Right, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's how it was before.
Right.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
My apologies. I should have read, I.
Oh, by the way,
The fine print.
I thought-
Mr. Chairman, would you like
Last
to?
time it was
You want me
I
to?
just thought it was at 7. I could have been here at 6 too.
Right. Any other thoughts? Because there is an ag commission meeting tonight at 7. So next, I think, I feel like Board of Education needs to have a conversation. I think we can, plan to potentially have a small group meeting with the resident trooper, report back to a tri-board meeting,
Yes.
and then eventually go to town meeting, to have the people ultimately decide what they want.
You haven't had
Is that-
December.
That's right, you know, I don't wanna go to see this,
Next week.
this
That's
kid
gonna be a rough
with a bunch of people and he's gonna think, oh, they after me. No,
Oh, 3 or 4 people.
yeah, that's right.
And I don't think they're, like you said, when Lieutenant Hagman was here, he didn't say much, but he sat here like. for
He answered the
3
question.
hours.
That was proposed.
Right.
Side away from the ones that.
Because he doesn't wanna be quoted for something.
If he came like at the first, like for half an hour, we have him on the agenda for 7 to 7:15 to answer questions, if anyone had any, and then not keep him the whole meeting.
Right,
Okay, and then by, say, the middle of the month.
We could
we
do
meet
that,
again
and
and
at the
try to
same
put it
time,
into
if you wanted
words.
to, right,
Even if
you've already
it's
spoken
different
to
references February, I mean,
the head guy there.
I'm never
Woodstock,
No, and,
Lieutenant.
yeah, no, no.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, Melinda spoke to the superintendent.
Yeah, but the town, resident,
I haven't, not in Brooklyn, just
No.
Woodstock.
all right, but because he's the one that probably, when they got this, had to be behind it somehow, right?
How much?
Right.
So you didn't talk to the head? No, okay, it might be good
Just
at
Woodstock,
that same time,
right.
because he's using that town hall.
Well, maybe we can share, we can have Woodstock come in, Mr. Rich come in,
Filtration.
maybe the lieutenant come in again to talk to the tri-board and help us make our decision.
But we're gonna go.
Town meeting is gonna be the ultimate decision.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
know that,
strongly.
but what I'm saying is, we're gonna go, my whole thing is to go
Oh,
to
to meet with the resident.
Brooklyn and mix with him,
Yes,
not get him here, put him
No.
under the. Right,
No.
because he's not here. Right.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna end the meeting now.
Thanks, thank you.
All right, thanks Nadine.
I mean, we already. have the office.